بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to continue uh, in the section of Al-Khalwa, which is the last section, the last portion of the second section of this book, which is Al-Manhaj Al-Amali fi Tasawwuf, which is the practical methodology in Sufism. So inshallah, we're going to try to cover this last portion so that we can move on, inshallah. Bismillah. Let us begin. We're on page 172. 74, I'm sorry. Bismillah. Tariqatuha, the path of al-khalwa.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, its method. Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, mentioned the method, stages, and stations of solitary retreat.
Here, if you remember, and I want you to start getting familiar with the scholars whom the author makes reference to, because these scholars were pillars in explaining Sufism at Tasawwuf. So he mentioned earlier at the beginning Sheikh Ahmad Zarruq, Al-Ash'ari, Al-Maliki, Al-Sufi. And then, after talking about him from his book Qawa'id al-Tasawwuf, the principles of Tasawwuf, he talked about now Al-Imam al-Ghazali, Hujjatul Islam, who was Ash'ari, Shafi'i, and Sufi. And I'm very intentional in mentioning all of these things about these great scholars to show you, for the one who pays attention, that this is the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And that is our three. Al-Islam, Al-Iman, and Ihsan, which is an indication to Al-Fiqh, Al-Aqidah, and Al-Tasawwuf, which is an indication to the madhahib in Al-Aqidah and Al-Fiqh, Al-Ash'ariyah, wal-Maturidiyah, wal-Hanafiyah, wal-Malikiyah, wal-Shafi'iyah, wal-Hanabila, and Al-Tasawwuf with the various At-Turuq al-Sufiyah, right? This is Sunni Islam. This is classical, traditional Sunni Islam. And the Sunni Muslim is the one who combines all of those things. As you can see, these great scholars who were before us, who were pillars in Aqidah, in knowledge, in fiqh, in Tasawwuf, all of them, this was their practice. So Imam al-Ghazali, prior to Ahmad Zarruq, right? But they had the same methodology. The same methodology. And that which was us, we should have the same old song, that old Negro spiritual, give me that old time religion. If it was good enough for Imam Ghazali and good enough for Ahmad Zarruq, it's good enough for me. Go ahead.
The Sheikh assigns the aspirant a specific corner or place, zawiyah, to be alone, and appoints someone to bring him a small portion of lawful food. For indeed, the basis of the religion is lawful food. At this point, the Sheikh instructs him with a specific formula.
Abu Bakr as-Siddiq mentioned, every flesh that is nourished by the unlawful, the hellfire has more right to it. So halal eating is extremely essential for the one who's traveling the path to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Yes.
The Sheikh instructs him with a specific formula of remembrance with which he is to occupy his heart and tongue. The aspirant is to sit and repeat, for example, Allah, Allah, or Glorified is Allah Ta'ala above all imperfections. Subhanallah. Glorified is Allah Ta'ala above all imperfections, or whatever words the Shaykh sees fit. The aspirant is to then
Because he
persist.
may have his own experience with certain afkar that have an effect in purifying the heart of the person. Remember, that's the purpose, to purify the heart from the filthy clothing of the dunya, of the world, of the environment. So the sheikh knows what things work. So he may give him specific things for his state. Mm. And remember, the murid is going to tell the sheikh the various states that he go through so that the sheikh can prescribe the proper spiritual medicines for that state. Mm.
The aspirant is is to then persist in repeating this formula until its effect is no longer on the tongue and the image of the expression remains in the heart. He is to remain in this state until the letters and image of the expression are effaced from the heart and the reality of its meaning remains firmly attached to it, the heart, present with it and overpowering it, having emptied it of everything besides it. When the heart occupies itself with something, other things are removed, no matter what they may be. So when someone occupies himself with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the intent here, the heart will be emptied of other than him, and this is
Oh,
inevitable. When this occurs, he must remain vigilant over the whisperings of the heart, the passing thoughts that relate to the life of this world, and the memories of his past spiritual states and the states of others. Whenever he occupies himself with such things, even if only for a moment, excuse me,
oh Lord.
even if only for a moment, the remembrance will be removed from his heart in that exact moment, and this is counted as deficiency on his part. He must strive to repel such things.
And that's the concept of jahid to shahid. That is in every matter. Jahid to shahid. Listen, this is a jewel. Make it your badge of honor, your slogan, your address. Jahid to shahid. That should be, wait a minute. Sorry. I am sleepy. I don't know how that happened. For us in the 3453 family, these two words of Imam al Haddad should be like our badge of honor. It should be our flag, our symbol, Jahid to Shahid. It's a golden recipe for success. Jahid to Shahid. Struggle and you will witness. Got to put in the work. No pain, no gain. You have to work. You have to struggle. You have to overcome all the obstacles and all of the pitfalls and all of the hurdles. You have to put it in. And when you put it in, you're going to see the result. You have to work. The human being gets nothing except what they strive for. Now, can everyone copy that real quick? I like how Isla put it up. Can we all copy that quickly? It should be a constant reminder for us. Go ahead.
When he finds himself repelling all satanic whisperings and forcing himself to go back to this word, the formula of remembrance, yet the whisperings continue to come to him regarding this word, inquiring, what is this? What is the meaning of Allah Ta'ala? How is he the deity and why is he worshipped? When this occurs, he is faced with passing thoughts that open up the door for deep thought, and perhaps he is presented with whisperings from Satan that entail disbelief and innovation. No matter how much he detests this and attempts to remove it from his heart, he should not be harmed by it. These whisperings are of two types. Number one, that which he knows by way of certainty that Allah Ta'ala is exaltedly above. However, Satan
Hold on,
presents it.
hold on. Go back. Something, I missed something big time. Can you go back?
When he
So he should strive hard to push away those
when
whispers. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I missed something. When this occurs, he is faced with passing thoughts, or the
No,
beginning when I read it. He must strive to repel such things.
right.
When he finds himself repelling all satanic whisperings and forcing himself to go back to this word, the formula of remembrance,
Right.
yet the whisperings continue to come to him regarding this word, inquiring, what is this? What is the meaning of Allah Ta'ala? How is he the deity and why is he worshipped? When this occurs, he is faced with passing thoughts that open up the door for deep thought, and
Mm,
perhaps he is presented with whisperings from Satan that entail disbelief and innovation.
So here, al kufr and al bid'ah. Al kufr, you can say disbelief. I want you to keep these two terms in your mind. And al bid'ah. I'm going to give you something to add to that. And when I say al bid'ah, I want vile innovations. Vile innovation, not just innovation. There's a reason why I'm saying that. Now I want you to put this. All bid'ah, vile innovation, is sinful, but not all bid'ah is kufr. Y'all got that? All bid'ah, that's vile innovation, and put vile innovation. When I say all bid'ah, put vile innovation. That's what we mean here. It's sinful, but not all bid'ah, vile innovation, is kufr, is disbelief. This is very important rule. Can we put that up? It's very important, especially in our time. It needs to be understood. All bid'ah, vile innovation, when I say bid'ah in this context, I mean vile innovation only, is sinful. But not all bid'ah, vile innovation, is kufr, disbelief. Can we put that up? Those who tap faster than me. Now, what do I mean by that? Because the vile innovation, bid'ah, is that which contradicts Al-Quran or As-Sunnah or Ijma' al-Muslimin, the consensus of the Muslim nation. That innovation, that bid'ah, is a vile innovation and it is sinful. And vile innovations have levels. Sometimes they reach to the extent that not only is it a vile innovation, but it is also kufr, it's disbelief. Your job is to distinguish between the vile innovation that is just sinful, that doesn't mean it's light, because it's sinful, it is very dangerous, from the vile innovation that is kufr. Your job is to learn enough of the religion to distinguish between the two, which means everything's not black and white in Islam. And when you see people making things black and white, know 99.9% of the time, they have an ulterior agenda that they're trying to get you to follow. Whenever you see people making things simply black and white in Islam, 99.9% of the time, they have an agenda that they're trying to push on you. There's an ulterior motive why they make things black and white like that. There are some things that are black and white. There are, but they're not the majority of things. Rather, they are those things which are necessarily known to be of the religion. They're black and white. But many things involve details. They're not just black and white. They're not 1 + 1 = 2. This is very important to understand, especially in this issue. Because sometimes you'll have a vile innovation that is so ugly it appears to be kufr, but it's not. It's ugly. It's wrong. It's not acceptable, but it's not kufr. And that's a very, very, very fine line that many people cross unwittingly. They don't realize that you overstep the bounds in this issue. Do y'all understand? Don't ask for example, just understand the point. Do you understand the point? Do you understand this concept? If you understand the concept, I don't need to give you an example right now. I want you to understand the concept. And the reason why I'm not going to give you an example, because I don't want you to get lost in the example and forget the concept. I want you to get the concept itself. For us, in our communities, let me ask a better question. I'm sorry, I was supposed to go through this a little faster, but this is important. No, this is very important. How many of you live in a community, in an area where, and I'm only saying this for this purpose, where the Wahhabi Salafi doctrine is dominant? How many of you live in a community or an area, in a city where you live, where Muslims gather, where the Wahhabi Salafi doctrine is the dominant ideology among the majority of the masajid or people? You've learned enough, you can identify it by now. Or default, we say. Before I say what I'm going to say, I'm asking that for a reason. It's not a trick question. I'm trying to observe the crowd. I'm in the UK. That's the only place in the world, in the Western world, where Braille doctrine is the majority. He said, I'm in the UK. You just gave yourself away. Am I right, Khan, Riaz? You in the UK? Okay. So those who answered, most of you have this experience. So that doctrine is a vile innovation. Oh, you in Kashmir. Okay. You in India. You didn't migrate yet. Good. So that's the areas of the Braillery movement. India, Pakistan. Okay. MashaAllah, that's interesting. So that is an innovative doctrine. However, not everything in it is kufr. You follow my point? There's details, but it is a vile innovation in belief. But it doesn't necessarily make a person a non-Muslim in every case, right? So for us, since that is our reality, this concept needs to be understood in terms of when we interact with people, right? It needs to be understood. Because if you don't understand this, you're going to make every innovation kufr, and that's wrong. Even though it's an innovation, even Saval innovation is not necessarily kufr. So you need to distinguish between the two, which will take learning. But I'm just saying, no, if you got the point, so don't rush, right? Don't rush in your judgments of people or matters until you learn more. Go ahead. This was my only point with all of what I said, because a lot of people, they don't understand that point. And some people, they go to extremes to where they'll see Sunni Muslims and consider Sunni Muslims, practicing Sunni Muslims, as kuffar in belief, practice, and spirituality, because they went overboard. They didn't understand between innovation, vow innovation, and kufr. And sometimes they don't even consider mistakes as a part of it, or misunderstandings. Everything is kufr, which is foolishness, but it exists. That's why I mention this. It's kafir, 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 kafir. To the point, there's no Muslims on the world except them. This is a mistake. It's an error in understanding. I knew somebody was going to ask that question. I'm going to hold your question to the end. I got the question. I see it. But I'm going to hold it to the end so I can keep my commitments. Go ahead. So just hold on towards another 10, 15 minutes. Go ahead.
No matter how much he detests this and attempts to remove it from his heart, he shall not be harmed by it. These whisperings are of two types. Number one, that which he knows by way of certainty that Allah Ta'ala is exaltedly above. However, Satan presents it to his heart and puts it in his head. The condition for dealing with this is that the aspirant pays no attention and that he hastens to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and turn to him for its removal, as the Most Exalted said. And if an evil suggestion comes to you from Satan, then seek refuge with Allah Ta'ala. Indeed, He is the all-hearing, all-seeing. Surah Al-A'raf, Ayah 200. Number two, that in which he doubts. In this case, it is a must that he presents this to his sheikh. Indeed, he should present to his sheikh every state that he finds in his heart, from energy to boredom, and from turning aside to other things to truthfulness and desire. It is a must that he presents all of this to his sheikh while at the same time concealing it from others and letting no one discover it. Its legality. Solitary retreat is not an innovation that comes from the Sufis. On the contrary, it is compliance with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala found in his mighty book. And it is
all of this seclusion is not something the Sufis made, like they innovated it. It existed as Allah commanded. Now,
And it is adherence to the example and way of the Messenger of Allah Ta'ala, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to take retreat in the cave of Mount Hira and engage in worship for many nights before departing and returning to his family. He continued in this practice until the truth came to him whilst in the cave of Hira. This alone establishes
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent revelation by the way of Sayyidina Jibreel while he was in Khalwa in the cave of Hira. Mm.
this alone establishes the legality of solitary retreat. Proof
Mhm.
from the Holy Quran. Remember the name of your Lord and dedicate yourself to him. Surah Al-Muzammil, Ayah 8. Commenting on this verse, Abu al-Su'ud, rahimahullah, said, he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, persisted upon his remembrance night and day in whatever form it took, declaring his transcendence, declaring his divine oneness, and praising him. He devoted himself to him with all his energy and aspirations, dedicating himself with complete resolve and vigilance towards him. That could only take place by him divesting himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of all distractions that sought to prevent him from such vigilance and divesting himself of all attachments besides him.
Allahu Akbar.
Proof from the Sunnah from Aisha radiallahu anha, who said, the
God,
verse
read the last part.
that could only take place by him divesting himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of all distractions that sought to prevent him from such vigilance, and divesting himself of all attachments besides him.
Okay, you should add this to it after. So the next thing is the dalil from the Sunnah, right? Evidence from the Sunnah.
Correct.
There's a line here that is very important. Every matter that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was ordered with, every matter that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was ordered with, is a legally prescribed thing for him and his nation, except those things which were specific for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right, this is very important. Make this, it should be there, but it's not in your book, but it's very important. So every matter, I'm going to repeat it so that you write it down. Every matter that he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was ordered with, it is a legal ruling for him and his nation. So whatever the prophet is orders with, that becomes a legal ruling for himself and his nation, except those things which is specific for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those things that are specific for him are well known. So in the previous verse, where Allah ordered the Prophet ﷺ to remember his name and to be in seclusion, is general for him and his nation. This is very important. It's a very important rule to understand. So the point being made here is that since Khalwa was something that the Prophet ﷺ was legislated with by Allah, and it's not something that was specific for him, that means it is general to his nation as well. So that means it's something that is legally valid for us as well, not something specific for the Prophet ﷺ. Like only the Prophet could make khalwa and not us. No. Now, so This is an important rule. I want to give you another rule that I want to add to this, right? Let's pause there because I want you to make sure you got these rules. Let's stop here. Um, so that point. Now remember yesterday I was talking about when we want to learn about the Prophet ﷺ, we should study the Quran, the Sunnah, his Hadith, his Shama'il, and his Qasa'is, his specific merits, things that were special for him. Anything other than that is general for all of us. If it's not specific for the Prophet ﷺ, and that is well known, it's mentioned in the books of Al-Khasa'is, those special things that related to the Prophet ﷺ alone, right? Then the other things we can do for his nation. It's something that is legally valid Islamically for everybody. Let's add another thing. The prophets not doing something does not automatically necessitate that it's unlawful. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not doing a thing does not necessitate that it is unlawful to do. That's very important. So you can't say the Prophet didn't do it, therefore it's haram. That's not true. Him leaving off a thing doesn't mean it's unlawful to do. And the examples of that are too many to count. But as a rule, you need to know that. Tayyib, let's stop there. These are notions that need to be corrected. Many people have these false notions. Did the Prophet ﷺ do that? No, but what does that mean? Does that mean it's haram because he didn't do it? No, it doesn't mean it's haram. There's a lot of things the companions did that the Prophet ﷺ himself didn't do, and he didn't censor them. So not all things that are new, that don't have a previous precedent, are unlawful. By the circumstances of time and place, new things occur naturally because of the circumstances of time and place and situations and circumstances. That always happens. Now, okay, let me go back to your questions. If you had a question, I only have one. If you had more than one question, so if it's more than this question, put it up. I didn't see it. If you have another question. So this is the question that I have. If there's more, you have to put it back up because I didn't see it. Question, are you saying the Wahhabi doctrine is not kufr? The Wahhabi doctrine has many aspects. Some of it reaches the level of kufr and some of it does not. So you cannot just say, oh, Wahhabi doctrine is kufr. No, it's not. Some Wahhabi doctrine is correct, right? Some Wahhabi doctrine is a vow innovation. Some Wahhabi doctrine is kufr. Now, how do we say Wahhabi doctrine? Not all Wahhabis are the same. So not all Wahhabis believe the same thing. Not all Wahhabis realize they're Wahhabi. Now you get my point. Oh, that's funny. I had something funny in my head. I got a joke. It's not funny. It's funny to me, but it's not funny. So I won't say it. Right. Right. So, for instance, let's take example. Since Muti want to jump in class and show his knowledge, right? Let's take example. Some people who may claim to be Wahhabi, I don't think too many people themselves say I'm a Wahhabi. That's very rare, right? They believe Allah sits on the throne. That's kufr, right? That's kufr. To say Allah sits is kufr. I mentioned this before. But no Wahhabi who's learned will say that. No learned Wahhabi would say that at all. So this is kufr. But if you want to say the Wahhabi will say, we don't believe Allah sits on the throne, right? So if you went to the average person, he's not going to say that, right? So he may have another belief. And he may say, Allah is above the throne, above the heavens, in a manner that befits his majesty. Just that saying is not kufr. I don't know what you mean by it. That may be another story. But just saying that in and of itself is not kufr. It's a dangerous statement, but it's not kufr. Because I don't know what you mean by it. And some will stop right there and don't say anything else. And what they mean by that is their terrible translation of the Quran, right? That's not kufr. It's a terrible translation. It can bear blasphemous meanings, but that doesn't mean it's kufr. Do you follow what I'm saying? You see how it can vary? Let's just take that example. But if they said this statement and they understood this, even saying this statement, it's kufr. But they don't say that. But you will find in some of their books and some that this is said. And then you will find others where that's not, we don't believe that. So it's dangerous, but not necessarily always kufr. If you get my point. Do you follow me? But in no way, we do know that their general doctrine is a vile innovation that's not permissible to follow. But if we're going to talk about specific cases, then that's different. So you don't blanket and call kufr. No, you can't do that. But definitely, it is an innovation that should not be followed. And sometimes that innovation reaches the level of kufr, as we gave as an example, right? Now, let me go another level that it took me a while to get to this level of understanding. That's talking about the doctrine. Now let's talk about individuals. Most people in our context don't know what Wahhabi is, don't know what none of those beliefs are, They have their understanding, what they think they're following Quran and Sunnah, and they really believe, and they thought that's what it means. That's what they've been told. That's all they have access to. They know nothing else. This person, you're not going to consider them a kafir. They don't even know what you're talking about. Even though they may be default Wahhabi, but they have no idea what you're talking about at all, period. This person needs to be educated. They're like a new Muslim who don't know anything, even if they've been Muslim for 20 years. This is difference. We're talking about dealing with people. Most of our people don't even know who Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab is, even if his name is in front of them on a book they're reading. They have no idea nothing about none of that stuff. That's just the fancy book that was in the store. They said, this is Islam. I'm trying to be a Muslim. They don't know any of this stuff. I don't even know what Aqidah is. That's the average person in our community. So you don't judge this person. You teach them. They have no idea what you're talking about. They might as well have been a Christian for that matter. They don't know. Or a Jew. Or an idol worship. It doesn't make a difference. They don't know what you're talking about. Have no clue. That's the vast majority of us. In these issues I'm talking about. That's reality. Now, here's another reality. I'm getting ready to go in. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelts. And it took me a while to get here. Don't nobody care about you, Nick Rose. Seriously. The fact that's your situation don't make them no difference in general. Until you wake up and realize that, you're going to stay in that condition. They don't care. They don't. They're not even thinking about you. It ain't negative. It ain't, I'm against you. You're not even on the radar. Your plight, your condition, your understanding is not even on the radar. I'm not against you. I'm not racist. I'm not even thinking about you. Period. You are not in my focus of concentration. Sorry, pal. Right. That's real. It hurts because you want to be, Dad, don't you think about me too? No, I'm not thinking about you at all. Every move I make, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about preserving my legacy, my family, my tribe, my people, and I'm doing what's best for us. I'm not thinking about you, not for you or against you. You're not in the equation. Do y'all get this understanding? It's not racism all the time. It may feel like it. Nah, you ain't important. You don't exist. You're like non-existent in my reality. It's not, I'm not against you. I'm taking care of me. I'm not thinking about you. Do y'all understand that? I hope you do, but truthfully, I didn't understand it. It took me a long time to get that message. Man, I had a bunch of explanations, and that wasn't it. Right? But in reality, that's what it really is. For the majority of people, not for everybody. Some people are bad, racist, and all that, but that's not the majority of people. Majority of people just doing their own stuff. That's it. I'm just doing my thing. I ain't thinking about you at all. That doesn't help you though, because you're still dealing with your reality. And when you're helping the other is helping themselves, sometimes in helping themselves, they're pushing things on you that's harmful to you. But they're not thinking about it like that. They're just promoting their own agenda. And you happen to be, because you don't have an agenda, you happen to suffer from their agenda. Do you get my point? This is a very fine line that you need to understand. And I'm willing to engage you in this conversation, whoever you may be. I'm really willing to engage. I'm going to win. I have no doubt about it. Not because I'm arrogant. I know it's a fact. and I would debate anybody on this issue. The facts are overwhelming. Overwhelming facts. This is true. And all you got to do is use critical thinking and be honest. You're going to come to the same conclusion. There is no way around it except ignorance and unawareness or stubbornness. Either one. Those are the choices. Either you ignorant and unaware, so you need to be educated, or you stubborn despite the facts and the reality that's standing right in front of you. This is real. It's not an argument. It's not a debate. Right? So with that understanding, and this relates to what I'm talking about, we have to learn Islam in a way that's conducive for our reality as a people. Does that make sense to you? We have to, we're not changing Islam. I didn't say that. I said we have to learn Islam in a way that's conducive for or to our reality, not someone else's reality. Because if we learn it like we've been learning it, and it's conducive for someone else's reality, we're going to suffer. Do you understand that? Trust me, this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Nor did I understand it. This, for me, is really, really a new, complete, refined understanding for me. And I'm talking about it has details to it. I'm just giving you the surface. This stuff is deep, right? What does that look like? That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I was having this talk this morning with my wife. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I know it needs to be done. But what does it look like? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I know what it doesn't look like, but what does it look like? I don't know. I think we all got to put our heads together and figure that out. I don't think one person has the answer to that question. I think our leaders and learned people have to come together, kick everybody else out the room, and work that out. We have to come together, kick everybody else out the room. And when I say kick them out the room, I ain't talking about they're not in the room. They're not in the room of your brain even when you're talking. They're not considered in the discussion. So for instance, you can't come in the room as a leader and say, my sheikh said. We don't want to hear from your sheikh. We want to hear from you. Do you understand my point? It's a big difference. Because if the sheikh is in your mind, in the room, then he's talking, not you. And he's not us. So therefore, he's not dealing with what we're dealing with. So when you start talking, if you're talking in his voice, not that he's against us. I didn't say he was. He doesn't understand our condition. He's not dealing with it. He's an outsider. We're insiders. We're dealing with it. Do you understand my point? It's a difficult thing. It's very hard. It's not easy. I'm telling you what's harder than even doing that part. Getting us to realize it. That's more difficult than actually doing it. Getting us to realize this is what we need to do. There's a statement attributed to Harriet Tubman, but it's disputed if it was her who said it. But the statement is really our reality. I freed 100 or 1,000 slaves, whatever the number is, and I would have freed much more, many more, if they knew they were slaves. The statement, no matter who said it, it's real. Some of us can't get free because we don't even realize we still slaves. We don't understand. That's what we're dealing with. I want to give you a question. Let me show you quickly. It's Saturday. I got a little bit of time, right? So if anyone needs to exit, there's no chains on the doors. You can go right now. I'm messing with you, right? I think about this all the time because I actually have followers, you know? I have people who listen to me every day, like you. So I'm responsible. So I think about it all the time. There are people who look to me for religious guidance, life guidance, different stuff. Whether I like it or not, that's reality. There are people who trust me. So I'm responsible. So I have to be like, I have to be brave. I can't be cowardly. I can't. People count on me to have some courage. So I have to tell the truth to the best that I know it. Allah. We will never get out of this situation without realizing the situation we're in. We have to be responsible as a people. We're adults. It is our responsibility to prepare a brighter future for those who are going to come after us, among our people. We would be unjust if we don't do this work and leave them to continue to struggle like we're struggling. This is wrong. Whether it's financially, whether it's educationally, whether it's socially, politically, whatever facet of life, for us to not make advances and leave the next generation in the same struggle we in, or worse, we are blameworthy for that. Someone put a great idea. So I know you're not talking and you're asking a question. Put question in caps before your statement. Because sometimes y'all just talk and I don't know if you're asking a question or you're making a statement. So put question, as Sister Farida on YouTube mentioned. Put a question. So this would help me with you, right? Put question, like that big question. That way I know it's a question and not a statement. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's take it away from Islam for a minute. But it's not away from Islam because it's part of the deen too, right? But let's take it what you all know. You go in the black neighborhoods, right? And you will find oftentimes in most of the Black neighborhoods, the businesses are owned by other than them. Is this a fact around the country? A majority fact around the country that in the Black community, the businesses in the vast majority of the Black communities are owned by other than the Black community. Is this a fact or I'm making it up? We got a lot of people. So we ain't talking about Dean. This is something you observe, right? So please answer. There's a lot of people on there. Y'all don't know how many people be watching this stuff. They're following these classes. It's a bunch. So just answer the question, right? Now you have to ask yourself, if you're just a critical thinker, why is this the case? We're the dominant population, and the ones who are servicing us are not us. So let's critical think this our way through this. If that means the majority of the businesses in our community are for other than our community, the next question, do the owners of those businesses, the majority of them, live in the community that they have their business in? That's another question. We're going to critically think to it. Do they live in the community where they have the business? That's the next question. I'm going to ask you a series of questions because we're going to critically think our way through this. And it's relating to Islam, I'm telling you. I'm going to move it, but just I want us to all be on the same page, right? They don't. Do they themselves, that's the second question, the answer is no. So we got, they own most of the businesses. They don't live in the community. When they spend the profits that they earn from the business, their businesses, do they spend it in the community they have their business or in the communities where they live? So they got profits, they got a business, they make money. Do they spend that money in the community where the business is or in the communities where they live? Okay. So when they spend that money and they pay taxes, let me go back. Are those business owners in your communities, are they homeowners or are they renters, the majority of them? Are they homeowners or renters? I have a series of questions for you to think. Are they homeowners or renters? The majority of them, the business owners. Homeowners. The mansion owners. You're funny, Rosalinda. Okay, so that means they're paying taxes on their homes. Are the taxes higher in their neighborhoods than they are where they have those businesses? The taxes where they live, is it higher or higher where they have their business? You got to think this whole thing through. Where they live, are the taxes higher that they pay or they're higher where they have their businesses at. Oh, we need life skills. Mm-hmm. I know in my area where we live, for a home, the taxes are higher for the lifestyle that people live than where they would be where they have those businesses. I'm talking about in my area. So why do I say that? Because they may pay a certain amount of money in that area, then the property value is lower by design in the areas where they have their business, right? Because it's another plot, but that's a whole nother story. I speak in my area. So therefore, the tax money that they're spending is going to improve their area while they destroy the area where they got their business. Ultimately, that will be a higher tax when we get out. This is what I'm speaking from my area. This is a known fact, right? It's a design. It's a bigger design, but we're not going there yet. The point I'm making is that we're paying in our communities for our own demise. That's the final result. And I just gave you all these means to show you where we pay for our own demise. Do y'all see what I'm saying? In general. And that's across the country. We pay for our own demise. Do y'all follow my critical thinking and line of reasoning? We pay for our own demise. Did y'all follow this? Because I'm going to move it to Islam. We're not getting that far yet. We're not there yet. Just 1 second. Do y'all understand this concept? You have to be able to think. You have to be able to think. If you can't think, then it's going to be difficult. You have to be able to put some things forth, then gather all that to come to a logical conclusion that makes sense and is a fact. We pay for our own demise. All right, we got that point. Let's move to Islam. Y'all ready? In the Black community, the information that we use to learn the deen, are we producing it or someone else is producing it? The information, the books that we learn from, everything, are we producing that or someone else is producing it? That's a question. So go look at your library and see how many of it is produced by us. Okay, okay. Now, the original intent, so if they're producing it, when we buy it, let me go before I go to that. When we buy it, does the money come to us or go to the producers? The ones who produce the material, the publishers, the authors, everything. Does that money go to us or go to them? I'm just taking you through the same process. Right. Do those publishers, authors, distribution channels, businesses, books, do they live with us or they live somewhere else? Do they live amongst us or do they live somewhere else? When they spend the proceeds from their sales to us in their Islamic literature, in their garbs, in their clothing, in their everything, do they spend that money in the places where they live or in the places that they're selling this stuff to? They take those proceeds in the communities where they live. Do they get floors of storefronts, abandoned houses, and fix them up and make them masjids? Or do they build elegant, beautiful masajid from the ground up with chandeliers and all that other stuff? The proceeds of the money they get, does it contribute to those local storefront struggling masajids or to those big masjids with imams who are paid 80, 90, 100,000, or to the black community where they selling all that stuff where the imam doesn't get paid? Where do they spend that money? And what does the communities look like? Do y'all get the point? So just as I gave you how we pay for our demise as non-Muslims and in those communities, right? I just alluded to Islam and you just identify as the same thing happening. You're paying for your own religious demise. It's real. You're paying for your own religious demise. This is real. Same stuff. Do you see a difference? You just described it. I pointed out to you. Say I was leading the witness. Okay, great. Show me where it's different. Say, well, you were leading the witness. Okay, I was leading the witness. Show me where it's different. So this is something to think about. Now I have a couple questions. Let me grab them. It's permissible, even though it's something that's new, it's permissible. So it's an innovation, of course, because it's something that didn't happen, but it has the same meaning when there weren't printing press. Same stuff. What does it look like? We're going to talk about that. Can Sunni Islam, cookie cutter Ahl Sunnah following get us to a place where we're talking about? There's no such thing as a cookie cutter nothing. So if anything is a cookie cutter process, it's not going to work because individuals are different and unique. So you have to apply things in context. And let me answer this last one. Who is most responsible for perpetrating this culture? You're not going to like it. Maybe I'm not saying you. You know who is most responsible for perpetrating this culture? Mr. Charlie. That's who. Mr. Charlie. After Mr. Charlie, us. I hate to say it. Y'all know what I mean by Mr. Charlie, right? I can be nice. You get the point, right? You know who Mr. Charlie is, right? Do y'all follow that? We still haven't realized Mr. Charlie is still our enemy. I don't know why we forgot that. And Mr. Charlie in the back door used someone else to give us our Islam and controls us through controlling them. And we're in the same situation. Did you hear what I said? Mr. Charlie saw that we were going to Islam, went around the back door, got someone else to give us Islam that they control, and it led to the same result. Mr. Charlie is still doing his thing. As one of our elders said, the game is still running. So who pushed these doctrines? Mr. Charlie. Because Mr. Charlie knows. And as you look, let me show you how Mr. Charlie works. Go back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, a little bit of the 80s. In America, when you said Islam, what was the picture of the person you saw? That's a question. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, a portion of the 80s. When you said Islam in America, what was the face that you saw? In America, especially in America, you saw a black face, no doubt about it. Now, when you say Islam in America, do you even think as a standard that a black face is put in front of you? No, absolutely not. So the first stage for us is to realize what's happening to us. That's step one. The second step is our responsibility. The first one is our two. We can't do nothing about it, but we have to realize it's happening, right? We have to realize what's happening. Once we realize that, then the second step is that we have to take responsibility for our own salvation, our own development. We have to reverse how we deal with each other. That is within our control. That is within our control. We used to do that. We were deliberate and intentional in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We were deliberately, intentionally moving a certain way, even though we didn't have a complete, full understanding of the deen. But we understood one thing: take care of us. Do for self. We understood that concept. Mr. Charlie saw that we were becoming effective with that, and he came around the back door and said, hey, you stupid black people, you don't know nothing about Islam. Here is your new master, who is my slave. No, let's keep this real. Here is your new master. I'm going to facilitate for your master what I would never give you. And he's going to control you for me. Hey, he's good. I mean, what do you want from me? He's good. But we must be better. The battle is still on. And the biggest victory for him is that you don't realize what he's doing to you. You know what they call that in business? In industry? That's called subcontracting. He owns the company. He has the job. He just gets subcontractors to do his work for him and give them a portion while he takes most of the proceeds anyway. He subcontracted others to rule over you, but it all comes back to him. Do you get it? So you go on the job thinking that you're working for him. No, you're not. He owns the company. This is a subcontractor who has an agreement with the boss, with the general contractor. Do you got it? And whenever he gets tired, he's going to fire that subcontractor or cancel the contract. And you're back on the plantation, pal. You have to think. So now, once we get all that, the difficult process for us is to now come together and say, listen, man, everybody else out the room, out the brain, and we got to sit and figure this stuff out. But guess what? We've reached a point where all of our leaders are slaves. The vast majority of them. They're either physically enslaved or mentally, psychologically enslaved to someone else. That's the majority of our leadership. They are not allowed to think for themselves. They are afraid to think for themselves. It's almost blasphemous to think for yourself. It's almost blasphemous to think for yourself. Do you understand my point? And that's our challenge. That's what the African American Islamic Summit was about. That's really the design. But that is not an easy task. They've effectively made us enemies to one another for something that none of us own. We're fighting each other for somebody else to rule over us. Let's rumble so you can be the slave on Johnson's plantation instead of Smith's plantation. No matter what you do, you're still on somebody else's plantation. That's our struggle. Do you understand my point? That's our struggle. And I can articulate this very well in another way, but there's no need if you understand the point. I can articulate this directly, but then you're going to get sensitive. Then you're going to be like, why you say something about my leader, all that. So let's skip all that. Let's just get the point. Let's get to the point. Once we get to the point, we can work all that other stuff out. Right? We can work it out. It's not impossible. You can't handle direct. Nail, don't ask for it. We already had this discussion. Don't ask for direct. Get the point. You got the point. That's good enough. Direct is too harsh for the most of us. You know it and I know it. We can't handle it. So we have to be wise. We can't be direct. Be direct is, we're not there yet. You know it and I know it. You're not even there. So stop it. Right? No, I'm just being honest. I'm not being sarcastic. You're not even there. You know daggone well we don't want to hear the truth. Truth got to come to us in stages with a lot of sugar and spoon-fed. Like babies, when you just don't give them, you got to crush the pills. That's us. It's real. Nobody tell us the truth, we're going to flee like it's the plague. We don't want to hear the truth. And that's okay. It's a reason why. We're tired of losing, and I agree. We just got to slowly figure out how to win. Right? And this is true. And that's all I'm doing. Right? Because it takes time. We have to take our time. But we have to realize we have to work. And listen, you want the ugly truth? Individually, none of us know what the heck we're doing. That's the truth. Individually, none of us know what we're doing. Individually. No leader individually among us, no matter who he is, knows what the heck he's doing. He needs help. And he needs to realize that, and so do we. Is that hardcore enough for you? No leader among us individually knows what he's doing. He needs help. He needs to realize that, and so do we. Is that clear enough for you? I'll repeat it one more time. No individual leader among us knows what he's doing. He needs help. He needs to realize that, and so do we. All right, can we put that up real quick? I'll repeat it. No individual leader among us knows what he's doing. He needs help, and he needs to realize that, and so do we. Can we put that up? No individual leader among us knows what he's doing. He needs help. He needs to know that, and so do we. That's important. Can somebody get that and put that up? That's important. It's so important to make you want to cry when you realize it. It do. It makes you want to cry. Can we all copy this? Let's get this point because it's practical. It's something you can actually do. We love to talk, but when it comes to the work, we don't like that part. We like to talk. We love a good conversation. MashaAllah. But when we're asked to do something, there's another story. There's a whole nother story. This is true. So now what do I mean? All the factors we're faced with are overwhelming. Mr. Charlie is an army. His subcontractors are an army. And we're a small band group that have to overcome all that. It's not impossible, but it's going to take a lot. Mr. Charlie is a huge army with apparently unlimited resources. Everyone's resources are limited. But outwardly, Mr. Charlie's resources are unlimited. They're domestic, they're global, and all of that ends up being pointed at us by way of his subcontractors, because they get a piece of the pie too. They get bonuses and everything. And at the end of the day, we in the same state. I wish, and I say this, I wish among our Sunni leaders, I pray for it. Our Black African-American Sunnis, were those that can handle the truth and be honest and not deluded. We could get a lot done, but that's hard. Among our Black African-American Sunni leaders, whoever they may be, I wish that they could be honest, and truthful with our reality, with their reality. and courageous, we can get a lot done. See, I'm a leader, so I can speak from I speak from a context, because I speak as a leader. I don't speak as a follower. I speak as a leader. And I know to an extent what leaders go through, what they would like, what they're dealing with. I understand it. I'm a leader. I do understand. That's why I said individually we doomed, because none of us individually have the support that we need. And some of us don't even realize we need support. We've got so frustrated that we say, to hell with it, I'll do it myself. You can't. I know you're frustrated. I know it feel that way. You can't do it yourself. You don't have the skill set. You need help. You need help. You can't do it yourself. You can do some stuff, but it's not going to help the collective. It's just you and your small band of followers. Don't be content with that. We have to do better. You have to accept help. But on the other hand, we have to really help and not try to undermine and destroy, because that's the us part. If the leader comes to us for help, we figure how we can destroy and take over and not help, because we don't respect our leaders. We don't even realize we need leaders. Do you follow my point? It's hard work, but I'm just giving you the idea. And hopefully there'll be some leaders that say, you know what, let me talk to this guy. Let me sit down and have a man-to-man with this dude. Let me sit down and have a man-to-man with this dude. I'm down for a man-to-man. I'm down. I'm down. Because I know we need it. I know we have to figure it out. And I know it ain't going to be easy. Man, I know the cards are stacked against us, but we could do it. We need a whole panel on this stuff. Let me answer that. What type of help is the question? First of all, we have to find someone we trust. We have to find a leader that we trust. That's one. To identify the type of help, first, prior to that, who do we trust? Is there anyone we trust? We don't trust any of us? Nobody? Nobody? Everybody's just no good? Who do we trust? That's the first question. We must identify someone we trust. We already know none of us are where we ideally want to be. We already got that part. So we don't need to say that. Oh, you don't have all the leadership skills. None of us do. So now what? Neither do you. So, right? I'm speaking to us. I'm not speaking to Sister Nora individually. I'm speaking to us as a group. We missing some skills. But there is anyone that we trust among us? Anyone? We got to identify one or two or three. It doesn't matter. We have to identify someone we trust. Right? Once you identify those who you trust, you have to give them your loyalty. They're not perfect. We already discussed, they don't know what they're doing, right? But I trust you, and I'm going to give you my loyalty. I trust you. I'm going to give you my loyalty. Then, when you have this trust, and those people you trust realize they need you too, they're going to sit down and discuss to you what they have, what they're missing. You're going to share your expertise, and they're going to work together to figure out to get what we need. Do you follow the point? So the status quo is just do what I say. No one's asking you to do. We ain't doing that. Neither way. Either you do what I say or get lost, or you do what I say, or I'm not going to support you. We're not doing neither one, right? The leader's not going to say, do what I say or get lost. And the people that support us not going to say, do what I say or I'm not going to support you. Both is the status quo, and we got to get rid of that. We're not going to do neither one. Elevating our condition is how we're going to do it together. When I'm going to trust you, you're going to trust me. Right? We need that. And then once we do that, that's what this 3-4-5-3 family is all about. And it works. I know it works because I've done it. And we're still doing it. Once we do one solid cooperative effort and we become successful, others will join a successful model. And I want you to understand this. Are y'all ready for this one? This is a hard truth. Y'all said y'all want truth. We're not going to live to see the fruits of our work. We're not going to live to see the fruits of our work. We're just planting and fertilizing soil. That's all we're doing. We don't have enough time in our life to do anything else. We're fertilizing soil and planting seeds. We may see a little bit of some portions of some vegetables or fruits that will grow. Maybe. We may see some stuff. But the garden, we're not going to see. We're going to die. We won't be alive to see that. I'm sorry. We don't have enough time. We will see some fruits, some stuff. But if you're looking for the solution, we're not going to live to see it. Forget about it. And if that's what you think, you're deluding yourself. That's not going to happen. We don't have enough time. And we still going to work probably the next 10, 20 years doing the first level of trusting each other. That's not easy, is it? I've been daily with you for 3 years. 3 years, daily. People still question me if I'm really not doing some slick stuff. Never had a scandal. We've dealt financially, never have a scandal with money, never saw us fall apart. None of that stuff. We go, do what we say we're going to do. We teach every day, give you stuff you've never heard. And people say, what is he up to? The hell you mean what I'm up to? What's wrong with you? Right? Did you see what I do? Some of you've been around me, seen my family, seen Imam Naim's family, seen how we work, seen how we live. What the heck are you talking about? What are we doing? What are you, blind? No, you're not physically blind, but we got stuff. This is how we live. So I imagine, in fact, I know to be a fact, other imams besides us are going through the same thing. No matter how hard they're working. So what is he doing? Busting his butt. That's what he's doing. Right. So that's what we have to do. Now, I say this. That's our goal and our objective. We already have in this 3-4-5-3 family an aspect of what we need. We need to empower it in order to bring other skill sets from other leaders so that we can collectively grow. We don't have all the answers. We don't. We have some of the answers. We have some of the tools, but we need help. We need help. Without your help, it's going to be extremely difficult. We need help. We need your skills, your experience, your knowledge, your loyalty, your trustworthiness. And I'm going to put last, we need your financial support too. It cannot be done without the combination of all of that. And you need the same thing from us. I agree. But I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you in this. I'm working on it. And speaking of skill sets, I'm going to tap into some of you because I'm like overwhelmed. But I'm still working, but honestly, man, I am like, wow. Same thing. This is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. We work. I'm telling you, we work. But I believe in myself and I believe in us. I do. With all my heart, I do. And I'm willing to die trying to help us. And I'm willing to sacrifice everything I have for us to win. And anyone who knows me knows that's how I live. There is no one who knows me that will tell you different. That's how I live. It's my life. Leave it, love it, whatever. This is how I live. And the biggest sign of that, you want a biggest sign? Your wife know you better than anybody. The one who lives with you and spends years with you and sleeps with you and goes through your crap and deals with everything. You ask them, is this his life? They will tell you yes. He may have this, he may have that, he may be did this, he may be a pain in the butt, he may be this, but he's dead serious about that. None of them, and I've had divorces, not one will tell you other than that. Not one. And they're on here daily. They will not one of them will say that's not true about him. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I got stuff. I'm like everybody else. But this issue, not one of them will say anything different. Not one. No matter if they got a million things to complain about something else, it won't be that. No, he's dead serious about that. And the evidence of that is they're here regularly. They're here regularly. They're there. Despite whatever they may personally not like, that ain't it. That's not the issue. And I could say the same thing for Imam Fahim, Imam Naim, or most imams, most who are sincerely working on our behalf. You could say the same thing about them. This is true. Every imam got some stuff you don't like. Every human being got some stuff you like. I don't know none of us who have spouses and be like, man, that joker, I don't like him. As Michelle Obama said, I went 10 years, I didn't like Barack at all. But we got to work our way through that. I didn't like him. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't like him. No one is free from that. No one. This is being real. Just being real. And just as one of them can say things about me, I can say things about them. But neither one of us And I would never say it about them, and they would never say it about me, that y'all not sincerely want to do the right thing for this deen and for our people. I would never say that. No, she don't like you, Muawiyah, at all. She loves you, but she doesn't like you. Now, you spend some more money, then maybe you'll get some love. But right now, I don't like you much. I love you, but I don't like you. Now, go get some money, more money, and spend some more money, and then I will like you. But I'm always love you, but I don't like you. You'll get love, not like. It's difference. Don't confuse the two. I love you. I don't like you. Y'all got my point? Do y'all got my point? Are we clear? No, I speak from the heart. I'm reaching the age where I ain't apologizing to nobody for nothing. I'm just not. Not for truth. I've been through too much. I ain't got time for all that. Right? Seriously. I'm looking at grandchildren now. Man, I don't got time for all that. And I don't believe I got long to go. May Allah give me a long life, but by the norm, I don't got that long. So I got to get it out. I got to do what I have to do. Period. And even my teachers, they looking at me like, Dad, what happened to him? I'm tired of being a slave, bro. Can't do it. I can't let my children, my grandchildren, my people, I can't let them stay in this condition. I got to do something. I have to help. I can't do it. I can't. I can't live on my knees. I can't do it. I can't do it. No. I'd rather die. I can't live on my knees. I can't do it. I've never done it. I can't. I'm not good at it. Hurt me first. I can't do it. I'm not going out on my knees. No. Only way you're going to get me on my knees if you break them. That's it. And I can't stand. I'm not doing it. No. And I don't suggest you do it. No. No. Absolutely not. I don't care what it takes. No. And Mr. Charlie know that about me. He ain't gonna do it. Not him. He ain't doing it. No. Mr. Charlie know I'm not gonna do that. No, he's not gonna do it. Forget about it. Just do whatever you're gonna do to him because he's not doing that. Forget about it. He's not. And that's how I know our leaders. Because men can deal with men, right? Men can deal with men. Men can deal with men, right? Men can deal with men, straight up. And we can solve the problem, but you gotta be a man. This work ain't cut out for males. This is for men. Serious stuff. So we clear, right? I need y'all to do me a favor. I'm getting ready to put this guy on the spot. We are working hard to turn this guy into a man, right? We're working very hard. He has so much potential. Amazing potential. Amazing. I watch him and I just be like, mashallah, right? I would like him to be of those who succeed our work. It's a tall order, trust me, because he knows what goes into it. And, it's scary. He knows firsthand what goes into this stuff. But he has the ability. He has more ability than us. But he needs our support and our encouragement and our loyalty and our trustworthiness and our financial support for the whole mission so he could do his part. It's not just about him as an individual. It's not about him at all, truthfully. It's about us. And he, among others, but especially him, he has a skill set for the work. Right? He is my sheikh. You didn't know? This is my sheikh. It's my sheikh. And I mean that. This is my sheikh. What do I mean by that? If we do our part, he's going to become. If he does his part and we do our part, he's going to become. And then we can live to see, a portion of what we're talking about. Right? He asked me, how can Ahl Sunnah make this work? Right there. He's black. His mama black, his daddy black, his brothers are black. He's black. Everybody's black. He grew up in the Negro society, in a Muslim community from a child, around all the stuff we talk about. He understands. He understands everything we're talking about. He's seen it firsthand. He understands our success. He understands our failures. And he's young. He's still young. He still has time. He don't got a bunch of gray in his beard and a George Jefferson. He's a young boy. And he's married. And his wife understands. That's what we're looking for. Not just them, multiple groups and their students. They learn, they're interested in growing. They understand the importance of community. They understand. We got to facilitate growth. I don't. So if you come to Masjid Muhammad, I don't give khutbah. He does. I give khutbah when I have to, when he gets scared to do the work. Other than that, I don't do anything except teach and make sure the ship keeps going straight. I believe get out the way. I believe that sincerely. You just got to make sure the one you put in charge know what they're doing, and you have to guide them. And as I told him, listen, you in your 20s. If you get 20 years of guided leadership, by the time you're in the age of maturity, you are a master at this stuff. But you got to start now. You got to be a leader now. You can't wait. You can't make excuses. You can't. Now you got to do it. Now. Because you got to go through all the bumps while you have a journeyman there in front of you to guide you, to help you, to step in when it get ugly, who's experienced, who know what to do. But you have to witness all of it. You cannot run. You cannot hide. You have to get on the battlefield and learn how to fight. All that's figurative, you know. It's real. And every one of us have to do that. We have every one of us. Not enough of us are doing this. You shouldn't be 50 years old and you still running the community. You should be guiding the community. Where's our young people in charge, elevated, knowledgeable, growing and expanding to the next level, to the next horizon? Man, it shouldn't be the same level 20 years. The knowledge of the community is the same. The leadership is the same. It's a mess. No, 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 no. No. You better not be doing the same thing I'm doing. Come on. No. You're supposed to be light years ahead of me because you can live off my experience. You can see what I didn't see. And you are guided from that experience to grow. But we have to get out the way. We have to get, hey, you up front. And when you try to hide back, no, get up front. No, no hiding. I know it's difficult. I know it's frustrating. I know it's scary. But we cannot keep doing the same thing. We're going to get the same result. We have to do something different. But we can't do it by ourselves. We need your help. Right? And I'm going to ask for your commitment. And it don't take a lot. It don't take a lot. If I could duplicate 10 of you with my spirit, I'm speaking for myself. If I could get 10 of you with my spirit, we could do amazing things with my spirit. And I'm telling you, I go hard. So this is the big leagues. I go hard. But if I got 10 people like that, like me, with my spirit and with your skill set, but you got my kind of spirit and my work ethic, we're worth 1,000 people. Give me 10 people like us. Just 10. With this kind of dedication that we need, 10, we'll win. We will take on 1,000. Give me 10. We can do it. But you have to have confidence. You can't be, your confidence got to be borderline arrogance. That's what we face with. Your confidence got to be borderline arrogance. I know what I bring to the table, so I'm not questioning that. I'm not being arrogant. I just know my skill sets. I know what I could do, and I know what I can't do too. But I know what I'm good at. And I would hope each and every one of you know what you're good at. I know what I'm good at, and I don't back down. I know what I'm good at. And I probably have some skills that I'm not aware of. And I know where I'm weak at. But we all need to be like that if we're trying to win. You don't go, you don't send somebody to a fight who's scared to fight. You don't send someone to a fight who's scared to fight. Don't send him. Send somebody else. Maybe he could do something else, but don't send him to fight. He's not going to fight. He's afraid. Don't send him. Please don't send him. You're going to get us killed. You understand my point? That doesn't mean he's not have no value. He's just not a fighter. As I told someone, let him peel potatoes. He's okay. And he probably will make sure the fighter eats. Go do the potatoes, bro. I'm not putting you on the battlefield. No. That's not your thing. But you can peel the potatoes. And we need to eat. Go do that. And be excellent at that. That's your contribution. It's easy, Nora. It's not as hard as you think. You just have to find somebody you trust and get a real understanding with them. That's it. It's not as hard as you think. It's frustrating because we haven't effectively done part one. We don't find no one we trust yet, nor do we take the time to find out people we trust and to discuss. That's the major issue. That's all of our issues. We didn't get past stage one yet. Cannot go to 2 or 3 and you didn't do 1. We don't trust nobody. We don't trust each other, period. That's really our problem. Have to find someone we trust. And then once we trust them, let's talk about what we're missing, what we need to do. Let's be honest with each other. I could win. I'm suffering from soldiers. People can't handle it. It's too much. They just say the hell with it too quick. I think Imam Naim and Imam Fahim, I found them to be soldiers. Dudes, they're amazing. This 3453 family, I'm seeing soldiers. They're amazing. We're just still working stuff out. We're growing. It takes time. It's not easy. But trust me, I'm going to call on y'all. I'm going to call on you. But I'm organizing things so that you would be comfortable. Because many of us, we're not at the level to just move. We don't have that kind of trust. Right? So it needs to be detailed to a stage. And I'm working on it. I am. Thinking of working on it, Sister Rosalinda, I did get your message and I will be calling you soon. I got the information. I will be reaching out because I need your help for what I'm trying to do. I need your expertise. Okay, we're there, right? We good? I'm sorry for taking up. No, I'm not. That's a lie. I'm not sorry. I think it was necessary, so I took extra time. I believe in y'all. I hope y'all believe in me as much as I believe in y'all. I could be doing other things. I always get the offer to do other stuff. I don't think anything is more important than helping us. Because doing other things is just helping me. And I don't think that's wise time spent. I could do other stuff. Trust me. But that's selfish. I believe in Malcolm X's line. I don't believe my individual problem is solved so long as the 22 million African Americans have their condition. And now it's over 40 million. I don't believe, even if I'm straight, if we all jacked up, I'm not straight. And Islamically and learning, we have a long way to go. So even if I know, even if I benefited, even if I have access, until we all are like that, I don't think I'm successful. That's my personal feeling. I mean, there's always going to be some people who don't get it, but we're not talking about individuals. We're talking about us as a collective. It could be normal to know what we're doing. It could be normal to have a standard practice of traditional Islam, economically, educationally, socially, politically informed and balanced. We can do that. It's not impossible. It's work, but it's not impossible. I'm tired of seeing myself like the only black guy in the room. when it's real stuff. That stuff bothers me, man. It really bothers me. Why we don't dominate the room? Why we always got to be the exception in the room? I'll give you, Nora, in your field, doesn't it bother you to see yourself in the rooms, in the meetings, in the gatherings, and you're the only black person? It's probably worse for you because you're a woman. You be like, where are the black men? Doesn't it? Be honest. Doesn't it hurt? Doesn't it kind of be depressing? Isn't it kind of depressing for you to see that? Don't you want to change that? Because you're in the professional field. I feel the same way in my field. I feel the same way. I feel the same exact thing. We got different fields, but the concept is the same. I feel the same way. You know, one time I'll share this. I have a lot, so I'm sorry I take long. I was talking to 1, 2, 3 mayors ago. The mayor of Atlantic City, his name was Mayor Lorenzo Langford. So that's 3 mayors ago when he was the mayor. And I said to him, we were having a gathering on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, some Jewish memorials thing. The Jews were making like a Holocaust thing on the boardwalk. And he says to me, I said to him, at that time, the economy had collapsed. We was having problems, money, casinos was in trouble. It was a mess. I said to him, I said, yeah, you got a big job, man. You got to save these jobs. And he looked at me. I'll never forget this. He looked at me. He said, Imam, I don't have no hard job. I just got to save some jobs or something like that. He said, you got a hard job. You got to save souls. I thought that was profound. He said, I don't have a hard job. I got to save some jobs, some stuff. He said, you got a hard job. You got to save souls. That was so profound to me. And guess what? He's no longer the mayor. I'm still the imam. So my job don't stop to death. I'm not going to retire. When I retire, my breath is gone. I don't live anymore. There is no retirement for this work. It's for the rest of your life till you die. Now you see how hard that job is? It's a lifetime occupation till you die. And we need to train people to do it. We need to train people to do it. Every imam in our community is in this circumstance. If he's really doing his job, it's not easy. And his biggest fight is us. He doesn't even get a chance to fight the external opponent. He busy fighting the ones inside because we don't trust and believe in each other. That fight out, that external opponent doesn't go away, but he's so occupied fighting the internal struggle. We have to free him from that. All right, may Allah reward you. inshallah, we get some benefit. Inshallah, we'll get some benefit. May Allah reward you all. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your diligence. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.